Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. So, as the old saying goes, time flies when you're talking water, right? Yes, we are very nearly at the end of this online part of the Amsterdam International Water Week, but we're not done yet. My name is still Ikenna Azuike, and I will be your host for this closing session. So it's been a pretty fruitful last, 36 hours or so. I've seen lots of discussions happening, online interaction, a little taste of what's been discussed. There have been conversations on a variety of topics like understanding and incorporating risks into resilient and robust designs and planning. Water reuse, recovery of resources, and of course nature-based solutions to conserve fresh water resources. We've also heard hard data to back up all the innovative research and design ideas. We need to be able to measure impact, of course. The regional sessions highlighted pressing issues like, for example, water scarcity, delta management practices, flood and stormwater management. And there were examples from the US, the Netherlands, Canada, Bangladesh, Vietnam, and lots of other countries. There were 30 events, in fact, 30 events over the last 36 hours or so of the online conference with lots of different countries. In short, we have a blueprint for the way forward. The question is, how quickly can we make the solutions happen? Well, an initiative that might help us speed up that tempo is highlighted in this short video. Yes, the Safati Sanitation Challenge, which is an initiative of the organization that you saw there. Now, because I'm sure a few of you are wondering, hey, but Ikenna, what is the Safati Sanitation Challenge? Well, you won't hear it from me. I have someone much better to explain it all to you. And she is the senior advisor at the United Nations Global Compact. She's a CEO of Water Mandate and one of the jury members of the Safati Sanitation Challenge. Cheryl Hicks. Cheryl, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So honored to be part of this journey. The Safati Sanitation Awards are a really important set of awards to shine a much needed light on the innovations that we need to solve the global sanitation crisis. So the Safati Sanitation Awards were transformed into a challenge by World WaterNet, Aquaforall, and Accenture in order to find sustainable, scalable, and replicable sanitation solutions and to immediately help them to boost their growth journey. So that's what this award is all about. And we've been meeting with an impressive pool of sanitation entrepreneurs over the past few weeks and months. 10 semifinalists were selected. And from that group, we came to the group that you'll hear from today, from whom we will pick our winner. So stay tuned because that's what's coming up in just a few moments. And these innovators are working.
Cheryl, you're like the most ideal guest. I haven't even asked a question yet. You said almost absolutely everything I wanted. So that's brilliant. Please, I'd love to work with you again. This is great. Okay, but tell me, maybe you were about to head on to this anyway, but what were you looking for when it came to choosing the winner?
Yeah, so there were 6 criteria in our judging, really around first of all a focus this year on impact on health. That was the focus of the awards. But of course also important is the innovation, the business's ability to provide resilient access, to highlight a certain innovation perhaps we haven't seen before, to be scalable, to be ready for market, and to reinforce all elements of sustainability.
So is it, oh, see, now I know you're pausing now to allow me to ask questions. You were going to go on there. Okay, but is there anything, I don't know, those are all very sensible sounding criteria, but Is there anything personal to you that you really look for when you're picking out a winner?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of discussion in the judges panel about this, where to focus. And that's really difficult because, of course, all of these businesses need the best support possible to be able to reach the over 2 billion people that still don't have safely managed access to sanitation. And so what we tried to do was really understand where the business model had the most potential. That's really key here. We believe that the innovations are important, but there has to be a scalable business model. Of course, if you can't stay in business, then you can't provide the access that we all want and need. So we tried to focus on the business model aspects, and also this year we have Accenture that will work with the winner to really help them hone those business model aspects.
Okay, great. Okay, the tension is building. So you whittled down the contestants from 10 to 5. And before we reveal the winner, we're going to get an opportunity to hear from the 5 finalists. None of whom know who the winner is. So this really is kind of nail-biting stuff for all of them. I'm going to introduce them one after the other and ask them a question, and they'll just get a minute or so to respond so we can get a bit of a flavor of what their innovation is and who they are. So let's get ready for our first finalist. And that person is Diana Youssef, and she's the founder of Change Water Labs. And she created the iThrone. So Diana, if you're online and able to hear me, we're just doing some shuffling with the mouse to try and make sure Diana is online. And then we will take it away. The iThrone. Sounds like I have my suspicions as to what that's all about, but we'll hear shortly. And if not, would you like, I'm just looking at the technical team now, should we start with someone else, or? No, okay. We just have to be patient in this fast-paced age. It takes a moment, everyone. Just be a little zen. Oh, and as if by magic, she appears. Thank you very much, Diana. So Diana, tell us, which problem in the sanitation service chain does your Shrinkwrap for crap model tackle?
So we think that the main challenge to scaling offline sanitation and doing so at low cost is the sheer volume of waste that accumulates on site at the point of use. And 95% of that volume is really just water. So keeping communities, especially crowded urban ones where people are on top of each other and waste accumulates quickly, keeping those communities clean and safe would require frequent sewage collection, which is unsustainably costly. So we solve the problems of both safely containing waste on site and the huge cost of frequent waste collection by shrinking waste inside the toilet itself. And we do so with our Shrinkwrap for crap, which converts most of that on-site water into something clean. We evaporate it into pure molecular water vapor. And so our toilets will clean up crowded communities, shrink overall waste volumes, and drastically reduce the cost and frequency of waste collection, making offline sanitation much more scalable, much more sustainable, and much more accessible to more people.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that very concise, compact answer. How big is your team?
We've got 6 people, full-time.
Okay, great. And how do you get rid of the shrunk waste?
Yeah, so we work with our partners who have multiple different regimes on how they deal with the waste. We can't be prescriptive about it because every geography and community and market has a different way to do it, but we've created kind of a platform that's amenable to both waste to value conversion as well as whatever disposal. I mean, 95% of our bag is compostable, so the waste can be composted. It can be converted because it's already dry, which is what the first step that most of these waste value conversion steps take. So it's already dry, it can be converted into bio feedstock, or it can be disposed of. Okay,
thank you very much. Yep. I guess we can't forget that it's all very well having innovations, but they need to kind of gel with people's lived experiences, what they're doing. Okay, next up we have Bara Wabe. Bara is the co-founder of Akias, AKYAS, a new type of toilet. In 60 seconds, Bara, what makes the Akyas toilet innovative, and can you tell us a little bit about the end products which you hope to generate?
Yeah, thank you. Akyas is made of 3 different components: a powder mix, a pan, and a bag. The powder mix kills pathogen in 48 hours and add value to the waste. A pan is designed for the washer population, so it really diverts all the cleansing water and urine from the fecal waste. And our bag is made from compostable material. It collects the fecal waste with the powder, treat it, and transform it into an added value material. Now, as you see, each component itself is novel itself. But when you put them together, you end up with an integrated non-sewage system that provides you with on-site treatment. It reduces the CO2 emission, and it transforms the human waste into an added value that can shift the actual cost of sanitation. Now, what we're trying to work on in our product is to transform the waste into biomass, potentially into bioinsulation material that can be used in construction. So that's the new thing, could be a game changer again.
Okay, very exciting. I like this kind of transformer approach of these 3 different things coming together and then building a nice big thing. Great, thank you very much, Bara. That's fantastic. Okay, next up, we have Dieudonné Kwame Aguda. Dieudonné, you founded Washking Limited to solve the problem of limited access to sanitation in Ghana by providing affordable biodigester toilets for low-income populations. Tell me, what are the key ingredients that make the Washking model successful in increasing access to sanitation in low-income areas?
Thank you. We've realized the main elements are affordability and ability to revolve any money that is put into our business through flexible payment terms and using pay-as-you-go digital technology. And then the other one is high-quality products and aftercare services. And we also use local talents and materials which make our technology highly scalable. And finally, women-centered engagements and being part of the community for the community, where we are seen as co-change makers.
What's the response been like so far to the product? I presume you've already had some being used?
Yeah, so the response has really been good because this is a technology that we designed with the people, and so it's able to fit into their needs. For example, when you come to low-income urban settings in Ghana, it's difficult for you to just have any kind of technology. And so we make sure that we design the biodigester to be able to fit into this environment. So the response is really good and positive. Okay,
congratulations. Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mona Mitab from Munsan Sanitation Solution. Mona's company provides a mobile urine diverting dry toilet for communities in Guatemala. So how is the Munsan model of community-led sanitation services contributing to the sustainability of your product, Mona?
Thank you very much. Actually, Munsan is so much more than a toilet. We believe that we need complete systemic and regenerative solutions. And that's why we designed an integrated system that goes from the toilet that you just mentioned to the field. We use pyrolysis to transform human feces into biochar, a charcoal that we further enrich to become a rich fertilizer for agriculture. And that allows us to make or to have Munsan as a climate positive solution. We actually think that what decades of international development have shown, that it's not really the lack of technology that keeps progress slow. We believe at Munsan that it's a cultural adaptation that is often missing. And that's exactly what we do differently with Munsan. We use our customized participatory approach to involve community members and diverse stakeholders from the local region in the design, development, growth, management, and the management of the Munsan services. And we do that through capacity building events, through co-creation, to actually build a sense of ownership that is created for community members. So people start taking responsibility and a key role in leading the solution forward. So instead of considering people as consumers, we see them as active collaborators. And so, well, awareness creation and education is important, but for us, even more important is that the solution is created with people and by people, making it their solution. And that's basically our strategy to increase adoption rates, reduce dependencies, and ensure long-term change in communities.
Very exciting. I love that approach. I love that approach. So it's more than so much more than just the product itself. It's kind of like rethinking the very idea of what is a solution. You know, it has to do so much more than just a flush. Like, where does that go? So thank you very much, Mona. And finally, we have David Gallagher and Ashana Svesta from Aerosan. And Aerosan offers build, operate public toilet management solutions, which highlight gender and disability inclusion, waste to value solutions, and evidence-based cleanliness protocol. A key to Aerosan's hub model is the public-private partnership with the Nepali government. So perhaps you can tell us, David, how's your relationship with the municipalities evolved, and how can that help you scale?
Well, first of all, we recognize that there was a sanitation crisis in these dense urban areas of Kathmandu. So we designed a toilet to tackle that. And showed by building a simple pilot and 5 models that you could have a modern, clean, safe, women-friendly, disability-friendly toilet with a waste-to-value system by a local social enterprise using local technology. This created a storm, a sea change in perception. We had visits from all levels of government. We had media coverage, so much so that the municipalities decided that they would build a new toilet in every ward, and that means 60 wards in the Kathmandu area, and that it would be based on the Aerosan model. So that policy shift then led to a public-private partnership, a 10-year contract that said, we're going to build 60 toilets in Kathmandu, and we want Aerosan to build them, to design them, and to operate them.
Fantastic.
So this means basically, at the end of the day, 60 toilets would be serving 17 million users a year. But key to it all was the fact that we were creating jobs for minority Dalit women. So these 60 toilets would employ 200 of these women in the toilets. So it's
and you're the colleague next to you that we can see on the screen, Ashana, you're a colleague, you're a Nepali woman. What's been the response among the local community in Kathmandu, where you're now based?
I think she's muted.
Are you muted, Ashana?
So I'm speaking.
Perfect. Just briefly, please.
The Dalit women who are working as a sanitation worker at the Aerosan hubs are very excited, and they feel like they have got a dignified job after working at Aerosan. Before, they need to work without any respect from the local people. But now, since they have got a dignified job, they feel good to work with Aerosan.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for highlighting how important essential workers are as well. And that's also something noble that your company does. So, the moment of truth, Cheryl. I know you said it before, everyone's a winner, but there has to be one real winner, let's face it. Okay, take it away.
Yes. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to all of these businesses. And really, you really are all winners, as was said. Impressive business models, really innovating where we need innovation. A lot of different models that we just heard about to choose from for those looking for sanitation solutions. So really look at all of these businesses, those that are watching and looking for innovative solutions to our sanitation challenges. But today, the lucky winner is Akias.
Can we see a response from Akias Bara? Sorry, we have to shuffle.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Baras, what's your how will winning this prize help scale your business?
We have a busy plan next year. We have a plan to build something in Bangladesh and India, and we have ambitions to reach 6,000 daily users a day. This will help us to validate, to support this plan that we're willing to go.
Well, congratulations.
I think it will really help us to move forward. Yeah.
Sounds as though your cat is also happy. I can hear some meowing in the background. She's cheering. Listen, everyone, I wish we had time to hear from all of you. Oh, just quickly, Cheryl, what does the winner win?
Yes, well, Akias will take away 100,000 euros as an award prize to help put those scale-up plans into action, as well as support from Accenture to support your business business operations.
Yeah, he's taking it pretty mildly, I think, Bara. No, seriously, congratulations to you, Bara, and to everyone else. Of course, it's disappointing. Would have been great to win, but please, your projects all do sound extremely innovative and also very fundable and scalable. So wish you all the best with all of that. Cheryl, you'll hang around with us, I hope, and we'll continue with the program. Next up is, we're going to change tack a little bit, and I'm going to introduce Veronica Manfredi, who's a Director for Quality of Life, Air, Water and Industrial Emissions at the European Commission. And she's going to tell us about a very ambitious EU project. Veronica, welcome.
Thank you so much. Delighted to be with you this afternoon.
Thank you very much. Now, you are something of a force of nature at the EU yourself. You are very driven and ambitious, and it makes complete sense that you're one of the people who's going to tell us, and you're behind this zero pollution ambition. Tell me, what is the zero pollution ambition?
Ikenna, it's very simple. We are in the midst of a shift that requires all of us to reach climate neutrality by 2050 for reasons that I don't think I need to repeat to this distinguished audience. And why not reaching climate neutrality, meaning decarbonizing our economies, whilst at the same time going for technological solutions that allow us also to reduce pollution? Pollution today across the globe is responsible for 1 in 4 premature deaths. The figures are appalling, and especially our friends from, say, Southeast Asia, Africa know this very, very, very well. Every day we lose 2.2 million people because of malaria. I mean, a waterborne disease that, thanks God, we've managed to pretty much eradicate across the EU, but which is indeed linked to lack of appropriate water and sanitation. So I was so pleased to listen about this fantastic innovative solution. But in the EU, we are convinced that we have to continue at the same time to set up very good standards that constantly limit pollution and secure prevention at source. Zero pollution ambition is precisely that. By 2050, secure that pollution is reduced to levels which are no longer harmful, neither for our health, nor for our ecosystem across air, water, and soil.
I mean, it's a huge ambition, but it has very serious impact on water utilities, on utilities in general, and private companies. What are the consequences for them?
Well, there is a lot that is indeed boiling in the EU drawers for them. Just let me tell you that in the Zero Pollution Action Plan, which has 9 flagships, all relevant for water, from zooming into zero pollution, sustainable buildings, sustainable cities, sustainable zero pollution regions, living labs that promote green and digital solutions at local level by using digital twins. We have no less than 33 actions that are going to be developed and delivered between 2021 and 2024. And just looking at the next couple of years, Ikenna, I am boiling in my own drawers with my colleagues. No less than 3 legislative revisions of major impact for the EU water world. I'm thinking of the revision of the Industrial Emission Directive, one aim of which is to boost water efficiency across the industrial processes, across our largest industrial plants. We are revising the rules about the urban wastewater treatment. We just heard about water sanitation. We are going to look at the parameters and also to secure that this revision becomes a driver for securing our sewage system becomes more energy efficient, amongst others. And last but in no way least, we are also looking at the environmental quality standards for all our rivers and groundwaters from which we extract the water that we drink. So can quite some work.
It sounds fantastic, but I mean, should companies be like shaking in their boots now, worried about all the kind of legislation they need to get up to speed with? How are you bringing them along in the process?
They are with us across the path because the European Union and the European Commission, we have a practice of always working together with our stakeholders. So it's actually quite a number of years now that we have carried out evaluations, and now we are studying the way to secure that indeed this legislative revision bring the stakeholders there where they realize they also need to be because of the imperative of climate mitigation and adaptation that we globally share and about which our leaders are speaking right now in Glasgow. And water is there everywhere.
It is indeed. Thank you very much. And you're also staying with us. You know, the impact of the policy that you're supporting and pushing is going to be felt across the entire of Europe, and in particular cities, urban regions. And we have now, we'll hear from a speaker who is in charge of one of the biggest urban regions in the Netherlands, which is Rotterdam. He is the mayor of Rotterdam, no less. And in fact, he was also chosen to be the world's favorite mayor earlier this year by the London-based think tank City Mayors Foundation for his commitment to treat all citizens as Rotterdammers, irrespective of their origins and backgrounds. He is not able to join us live, unfortunately, but he does have a pre-recorded message. It is the Mayor of Rotterdam, Mayor Ahmed Aboutaleb. We'll run that video in just a second.
Hello, friends. Very long time ago, humanity discovered three very important things. We have to take care of the air we breathe, we have to take care of the food we eat, and we have to care for water we drink. 3 dimensions, 3 very important themes. And then, through a very quick equation, we may say, without water, no life. That's important. Without water, no life. Without water, no food, no life. And I think it's really important in our modern world to realize that water is not for free. What we eat is not for free. And that we as responsible people, city level, governments, regions, we have a very unique responsibility to take care for these 3 dimensions. And there is every reason to do that. Our air is polluted, our water is polluted, and our food is polluted to a high degree. We have a very important responsibility to take care for these 3 dimensions. Let's take the city of Rotterdam. We, together with the national government in the Netherlands, we own the port of Rotterdam, the largest port in the Western Hemisphere. A port mainly built on the river, the Maas, a river that has been polluted for many years. And that was pollution coming from the mines in France. Nowadays, it's a clean water, and we're proud that it is, within Europe, enough regulations that the river, the Maas, is a clean river. But still, it's difficult to maintain the cleanness of this river. And I think it's really important to realize that even in the lowlands, Belgium, the Netherlands, where we used to have a lot of water, that this water is not always available. Even here, we are confronted a couple times a year with droughts. And that's funny. What does that mean if the River de Maas shrinks with 3 meters? Suddenly, all these barges that bring gasoline from the port of Rotterdam, that bring coal from the port of Rotterdam to Germany, will not be able to do its service. A couple of years ago, then suddenly we discovered we must serve North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany by trucks. It has not only a function in terms of surviving, but it has its own economic value. So we have to deal with it. Whatever you live in the world, whether you live in a delta city in Asia or in the Netherlands or in the United States, it's similar. And I think it's really important not to neglect the importance of water management. If we have a shortage of water, we have to deal with it. And if we have plenty of water, we have to deal with it. And it's really important to know that when we invest in these domains related to water, a lot of friends all over the world tell me, yeah, but that's costly. We need money to do that. We need budgets to do that. And yes, it's costly. And yes, international institutions may come in to help finance it, like the World Bank, the IMF, the Asian banks, the African banks, the European banks, indeed. But what I learned the last 12 years in my job as Mayor of Rotterdam is that investing in water management is indeed an investment. And that's not only a social cost. The difference between a social cost and investment is you have a return on investment, which is not always visible in dollars. But what about quality of life, quality of a city, quality of your environment, the happiness of your people? Recently, we decided in Rotterdam to invest some 300 million euros in 7 big green areas. That is a major investment, even in the COVID period, the time in which we needed a lot of money to deal with the disaster of COVID. But we thought, if we want to be ready for the near future, to be a strong city, facing the new challenges, then we have to invest indeed in green areas. And I hope that this type of examples will show our friends and other leaders in the world that's indeed a very attractive approach to do. And water is really important. Without water, no food. So keep the water clean. And it's really important that we take care of it. Recently, I was really shocked to see what happened in southern Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. Flooding, a lot of damage. In Germany, billions and billions of euros of damage. That is the civilized world where we have cameras to bring that in the picture. But nobody heard about approximately the same time a huge flooding in the Sudan. Thousands of people needed to be evacuated. No roof, no food, and no clean drinking water. So we have to adapt to Mother Nature. We have to organize our water systems in a way that we can survive in times of floodings, but also in times when we have a shortage of water. And yes, indeed, we can never win from Mother Nature. Whatever smart we are, Mother Nature is smarter, is stronger, will always win from human beings. So the only solution is not to try to win from Mother Nature, but to live with Mother Nature, to live with water, and to live with a shortage of water. I hope that the Netherlands will try and continue to give a good example in the world how to construct good and strong dikes and levees to survive, but also how to store water in times that we have a lot of water, and how to engage citizens in planning the city in a way that will make an attractive city, not only by dollars of the government, but also dollars of companies and private citizens. Only a city government will not succeed in changing these big challenges. We need collaboration with our citizens. Yes, it's an investment. Yes, it's a challenge, but we have no choice.
Yeah? Are we back online? Great. I can't see myself, but it was a very softly spoken mayor there, wasn't it? Felt very zen with the music combination and the softly spoken Mayor Aboutaleb. No, it was good. Joining me now at the table, I have someone who plays an essential role. Your organization plays an essential role if we're to achieve the targets of zero pollution that Veronica spelled out. It is Alain Cracau, the Director of Sustainable Business Development at the Dutch bank Rabobank. Alain, you're responsible, or your institution is responsible for financing. A lot of the companies out there are going to be hearing Victoria's battle cry for less pollution, and they will be thinking, yeah, all great, but how are we going to pay for this? And at the moment, figures from the UN I have here say that 80% of countries reported insufficient financing to meet WASH targets, water, sanitation and hygiene targets, let alone higher levels of service that SDG requires. So why are banks not lending more money to them?
Yeah, I think we already do, but I think it's obvious that we need to accelerate on that. And if we look at it from a value point of view, I think the risk of doing nothing has a high cost. And what's coming into the financial markets as well is that risk is now being valued by our regulators and also the EU and the EU taxonomy. What I like about water is it touches all the SDGs, but it's also very much aligned with the EU taxonomy. Mm-hmm. So we as financial institutions, not only we as Rabobank, but everybody we work with, need to be aligned with that non-financial ratio. Mm-hmm. And we need to recover what are the transition risks. And we know now we need to value that as a risk and as a cost. And then valuation comes in place. So over the last 2 years, we have seen a lot of things going on which had to do with water, but there was no real focus on the water side, where we think there should be more focus on this. And I think over the last 2 days, a lot has been spoken about it. I think the mayor said very smart things, mm-hmm. but I think both financial institution and the private sector should really look at water as a very undervalued asset, because it will recover a lot of risks. Can you give an example of the kind of a very fundable project? I mean, you heard 5 finalists there. Are any of those examples of something that you think, hey, that sounds interesting for Rabobank? Well, we are well known for our coverage of the food and agri sector. I think water in food and ag, I think the mayor said it, if there is no water enough, and we even see it in the Netherlands, that although we have enough water, there is a problem with climate change. Mm-hmm. We don't have the water when we need it. That's the summer. So there is drought now in the Netherlands, which is very unconventional, I could say. Mm-hmm. So we work now with a lot of innovations on how can you restore that water. So we also have our own innovation prize. It's been raised by our former CEO. Mm-hmm. And we have provided a couple of innovations on water to recover that. Also, especially in the Netherlands, where people think it's obvious we have enough water. No, we need to be very smart and very circular on water. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of transactions where we, both innovations, but also from investment, but also larger companies who have to work together to recover the water. What sort of, can you give an example? Yeah, well, one thing is very obvious when we have the last day, 2 days online. I think people need some beer after this. Well, if you look at beer, the most important aspect of beer is water. Mm. And what you see is that the beer brewers are looking at circularity and water as a very essential basis for, valuing a brewery. Mm-hmm. So we have worked with farmers in the south of the Netherlands together with the brewery on to make sure that the soil is okay, that the water drainage is okay, because the water quality is very much important to sell that beer. Mm-hmm. So these kind of thought minds makes farmers and locations and breweries and companies mm-hmm. make very sensible about why water is important. And a lot of investments there are very much obvious. Yeah. Let's bring in Veronica. Veronica, are you still there? Does this sound reassuring to you? Is this the kind of response that you want from private banks or from banks like Rabobank?
Absolutely, yes. First of all, I like to hear a recognition that indeed water currently is a very undervalued resource. And also some of you said before, and that I think it was actually the Mayor of Rotterdam himself, after his 12 years of experience, how much he has noticed that investing in water, for how costly it may look like in terms of initial investment, brings so many co-benefits. I remember some figures from the OECD mentioning something like €1 invested in water, at least 12 back if you measure, if you manage to monetize also the social health, public health benefits next to, of course, creation of jobs and so many other positive spins. When it comes to water use, maybe we should say, Ikenna, that 2023 is a really important year across the EU and globally for water. In the EU, because we have the entry into force of the water reuse regulation, precisely to facilitate and promote the reuse of water for agricultural purposes, irrigation purposes, and I hope also for much more. And secondly, because it will be the midterm review of the water decade at United Nations level. I really hope the European Union and so many other countries across the world will be able to mark some progress in that circular management as well.
Yeah. Is there any concern, Alain, that companies, if they know that you're only going to finance projects with these more stringent sustainability criteria, that they just say, you know what, we'll get our money elsewhere?
Well, to be quite honest, then I think there will be no place to go, because the whole financial market is now moving in this direction, which should be. I mean, it's my work, but over the last 2 years, there's really a tipping point. If you see, I think it was 5 years ago that we saw some evolution of green bonds, and that started with a couple of billions, which in the world of financial markets is not a lot. And now today, we have 800 billion of investments in. But it started with green bonds, which was, to be quite honest, the windmills, which is nice. The energy transition is important. But the fundamental thing is that of the 800 million, a lot of them, 200 billion of them, were including water treatment or any kind of water SDG. So in that respect, I think water is undervalued from a financial point of view, but it's already being financed. So what you see more and more, that financial markets will move into those investments and those parties which really also look at these fundamental risks. And if they don't include them, the money will be either more expensive or not available at all. Yeah. So the availability of financial markets will be linked to the SDGs, and I think water is so obvious. If climate is the shark, I think water are the teeth of the shark, because water is in every SDG important. Yeah. So we need to look at water more stringently, and I would look forward to more blue bonds than green bonds.
Okay, well, talking about teeth, Veronica and Cheryl here, maybe you can both weigh in on this. What about enforcement? How do we ensure that companies and utilities out there actually, follow up on this and, the kind of stick approach, when people aren't, I see Alain nodding, but Veronica, what do you think?
Our key currently is mainly directed to member states, to be honest with you. But as we speak, we are also, amongst others, cooking another legislative proposal that is going to sustain sustainable products. So looking into how to secure that our companies are really encouraged and in certain areas obliged to secure that the entire production chain becomes much more sustainable. So I would say it's a combination at this point in time. It's a combination of securing that the law is properly implemented, which naturally means member states have also to engage at their level with businesses, including financial investors, to reach targets. And on the other way around, as the colleague from Rabobank was mentioning, the taxonomy regulation itself, other initiatives that are in the making that are all looking into facilitating corporate disclosure to secure that also we promote a more sustainable way of producing and consuming will certainly add to the shift that we need across the chain. Yeah,
your focus is, of course, the EU. Cheryl, why isn't this more global? I mean, we need to think beyond just the EU, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally globally we need a mindset change here. The systems to manage water, to manage wastewater and sewage are no longer fit for purpose. And as was said by a Rabobank colleague, we can value water much differently today than we did in the past. As we heard from our Serapati Challenge finalists, there are many innovations. Technology has advanced. We have a lot more knowledge knowledge now of how to provide the services, how to provide them in a circular way, how to use digital technologies that lower the cost, speed up the access to the service, and provide more value back into both the environment, taking out the pollution and adding value, but also creating many new value streams through the circular and digital models.
What role could the UN specifically play, though, in making all of this transition?
I think we need to be
faster?
clear and agree on what the expectation is. If you take wastewater and sewage, for example, a very small portion of wastewater and sewage is being captured and is showing up as pollution, which is a big part of the issue. If we set the expectation that we need to not just capture a portion of wastewater and sewage, we need to capture 100% of wastewater and sewage. We have the technologies to do it. They're much lower cost than they used to be, and they're delivering a lot of new value through circular and digital approaches. And so I think the UN can really help in setting a new expectation. What does society expect, of our management of water, wastewater, and sewage?
Expectation sounds good, but can we make it more concrete? I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking new networks? Are we talking, resolutions? I don't know. Make it as concrete as possible. What can you do?
I mean, our initiative, the CEO Water Mandate, the initiative of the UN Global Compact, works with business. And so, to follow up on Veronica's points, we're really focused on the role that business can play. And so, for example, the Global Compact has set new commitments via the CEO Water Mandate for businesses to play their role in wastewater management, and to set a common goal together across 150 companies which represent 1/3 of global water use. So these are the types of commitments through coalitions like the CEO Water Mandate, that can make a difference and really set a common expectation, for how we will manage water to ensure water resilience into the future.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Alain. I got the sign that all moderators fear, which is we're going to have to stop. We're going to have to stop. So I'm afraid we're going to have to draw to a close there, but lots of good takeaways. Good to hear that the banks are moving towards sustainable financing, the value of coalitions, of course, and lots of great examples of scalable, innovative businesses there. Thank you very much. We did have a couple of questions in. We haven't got time to deal with them, but let me put them out there anyway. There was a question for Veronica. We have heard a lot of solutions over the last 2 days, but what is the importance of education in the challenge that faces us? And another question for Veronica and Alain. We have heard the sanitation challenge innovations. How can we scale up innovations? Alain, would you invest in any of these 5 ideas? And Veronica, how would these initiatives help to reach your zero pollution ambition? Let me put you on the spot. Any of those 5 ideas?
Yeah, well, in a couple of countries, we're also active with our Food and Ag Foundation. Mm-hmm. And so we are the oldest foundation in the Netherlands on supporting farmers. But in our case, it should be linked to farmers. But farmers and sanitation, I mean, it's aligned. So I'm sure that, for instance, in Nepal, we have some alliances where it would work. But we also look at these kind of investments, which
Excellent.
is very important for citizens.
Aerosan, look up Alain, his email address, okay?
It's on the internet, so...
Fantastic. Thank you very much to all of our guests today. We are drawing towards the end of the conference. But before we go, let me remind everyone about the upcoming in-person sessions and Integrated Leaders Forum. And the outcome of the dialogues that are happening there will produce a collaborative action agenda and statement, which will be handed over to Henk Ovink, who is the water ambassador. He is Mr. Water here in the Netherlands, special envoy for international water affairs, and that will be taken to COP26 and form part of the discussions there. So that is it. Thank you to everyone here in the room at Pakhuis de Zwijger, to Waternet. Well, I shouldn't mention names because there are far too many to mention. Thank you very much, everyone. My name is Ikenna Azuike, and hopefully till another 2 years' time, where lots of progress has been made.